Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Honkai Star Rail video, and today we're going to do a character guide on Lynx. I figured since right now, currently in the game, there is a chance to obtain Lynx for free, so I'm sure a lot of you might be wondering, or if you're just getting her for the first time, if she's any good, if you should build her up, and how to build her up. I will say right away, for those of you unfamiliar with Lynx, I think Lynx is probably the best 4-star healer in the game. She is incredibly good, and I do recommend all players build her up if you get her. What she does that makes her so good, obviously she's healing for the party, but she also provides a lot of healing over time, so like your party members will regen health on their turns. But the big thing she does is on her ultimate, she is going to dispel all of your debuffs, which is like her biggest asset. And the reason why I would say she's better than some 5-star healers like Bailu. Like, I actually think Lynx is better than Bailu, which is kind of crazy because Lynx is only a 4-star. So yeah, I think Lynx is incredibly good, and you guys definitely need to build her up. So in this video, we're going to look at her best builds in terms of her light cones, her relics, all that stuff. We'll do a quick little showcase and kind of show her off there. And then, yeah, that'll basically be it. And we'll just see exactly how you should build her and what stats are good on her, right? So let's go ahead and hop in first. And we're just going to look at her kit, just so you guys understand what she does. So her basic attack, not that it's a huge deal, because, you know, you're not really looking at this character do damage. But on healers, basic attacks are something you do a lot, because healers, a lot of the times, they're going to be the characters that you use to just get skill points back. You pretty much will have a turn, well, hey, nobody needs to be healed. I'm going to do a normal attack, get a skill point. The nice thing with Lynx is her normal attack at least does scale off of her max HP. And I talk about this all the time when I do character guides, but when you're looking at what stats to build a character, you're oftentimes going to see in their kit certain stats are emphasized, and those are the stats you want to look at. And with a lot of healers, you're going to say HP is a very important stat on them. So HP is actually going to help her normal attack. Her skill will apply the survival response buff to the allies. And what this does is it is going to increase your character's max HP, and it is going to scale off of whatever Lynx's max HP is. So the higher you can get Lynx's HP, the more HP you're going to improve your allies, right? The thing that's kind of unique with this is if the ally is a destruction or preservation character, it will make them more likely to be targeted. Now, this is really good. It can be good and it can be bad, right? Because you might have a destruction character like, say, Jinglu, who you don't necessarily want her to get targeted more, right? But then at the same time, you could have a destruction character like Clara, or a preservation character. Pretty much all preservation characters want to be targeted, but I can use March as an example, right? In those instances, it's really good because you actually want those characters to get targeted. So it's pretty nice like that you can actually manipulate who the enemy is targeting with that a little bit, right? So, and then it is going to restore the target's HP. So it's going to be like pretty much what this is. The skill is a big burst heal. You get survival response. It's going to make you more likely to be targeted if you are a preservation character or if you're a destruction character, right? And then I've got all these extra bonus effects that come with it. Now, just keep in mind, we're going to be looking at, this is an E6 Lynx. So some of these effects, if your Lynx is, say, E0 or E1 or E2, you might not have all of these effects. And then some of these come from talents. So when I do these character guides, it's always going to be assuming you have all the talents done. But the Eidolons will vary per character. But typically on 4-star characters, I like to have them E6. So I typically will only showcase my characters if they're E6, right? So the first bonus effect says if you have survival response, you can resist a debuff application one time. So what that means is if the enemy were to try to put a debuff on you, if you have survival response for one time, you will not take a debuff, which is good. And once again, this is one of the reasons Lynx is so good in general, is kind of the debuff evasion and the debuff cleansing. Because like if you've ever gone against like Kafka and some of these tough bosses, like the debuffs are what kill you, and that's why Lynx is so important, right? The second bonus effect is when survival response is gained, it does increase your attack. And the attack gain scales off of Lynx's max HP. So the more HP Lynx has, the more attack you gain from that, which is very good. And then it boosts, the next one, it boosts the max HP, increasing the effect of survival response by an amount scaled off of Lynx's max HP, and increases your effect's resistance by 30%. So it gives you a chance to evade debuffs there. And then the last bonus effect is after a target with survival response is hit, Lynx regenerates 2 energy. So that's good, because normally the way a character will act is they regen energy when they make actions or when they get hit. But what Lynx does is if any of your allies get hit that have survival response, she regens energy, which is very important because on these healing characters, especially with Lynx, you want the ultimate up as much as possible because you want to basically be able to interrupt and heal if you're in a tight spot, or interrupt and debuff cleanse, which is very good, which we're going to see here on the ultimate, right? Very simple. It dispels 1 debuff from all allies and immediately restores their HP by an amount scaled off of Lynx's max HP. So just that debuff cleansing AoE is so huge. And once again, the time this really comes in clutch is if you're going against Kafka or some of these enemies that they will basically apply like confusion or put like a dizziness on your characters, and it really can mess you up bad. So being able to have Lynx there to dispel that from the party AoE is so huge, right? And then her talent is when you use Lynx's skill or ultimate, you do get continuous healing. So this is the healing over time, and you get that for 2 turns. And the amount you heal every time you start your turn will scale off of Lynx's max HP. Once again, go figure, HP the big stat here, right? And then if you have survival response, you get even more healing. So it's good to have that survival response on. And then some bonus effects. When healing allies with HP equal to or lower than 50%, her healing goes up by 20%. So basically, the more you need the healing, she's going to actually give you more back, which is very good. And then the next one is increases the chance to resist crowd control debuffs by 35%. So more debuff evasion. And then the last one is extends the duration of her continuous healing by 1 turn. So essentially, if you have your Lynx fully maxed out like mine is, you're going to get the continuous healing for 3 turns instead of 2. And then her field technique, basically it just means that you get the continuous healing at the start of battle. So your whole party is going to get 2 turns of continuous healing or like HP regen for 2 turns right when you start the fight. So yeah, that's basically her kit, right? So the big thing here, once again, just to kind of summarize it, a lot of healing, right? Debuff evasion, debuff cleansing, and a lot of it scales off of HP, and you're even getting some like attack buffs to the party, and her HP is what's really going to drive that, right? So next, let's go ahead and we're going to look at light cones. And I do like to go into this other menu for that. So we are going to go ahead and jump into the data bank, and we're going to look at light cones, and we're going to look at abundance. And there are definitely some very good ones. The premium 5-star one would be the Bailu one, which I do not have. This is called Time Waits for No One. This one increases your max HP by 18% and outgoing healing by 12%. And this is at level 1. I guess we could show it at max level. Superimposition 5, it gets really crazy there. But whenever you heal an ally, it'll record that healing or like store a value for that. And then when an ally launches an attack, a random attacked enemy takes an additional damage equal to 60% of the outgoing healing value. So it actually adds damage, which is kind of crazy. It gets you more damage from your healing. And the additional damage isn't affected by other buffs and can only occur once per turn. So yeah, I do eventually someday want to get that light cone. I think that would be a really nice unfeatured light cone to grab. I would not mind getting that at all. I think the one most of you guys are going to have that I would say is probably your best 4-star option is this post-op conversation. And this is the one that I have. This is the Natasha light cone. So the big thing with this one, and I think if you've been playing the game for a while and summoning on banners, I think it's going to be common for a lot of players to have this with superimpositions on it. But the big thing with this one is it gives you energy regen rate and then increases your outgoing healing specifically on the ultimate. And with Lynx, you're going to find the ultimate is the big button you're pressing a lot to get the healing for your party. So to get a big buff on that, but the energy regen rate is so important because then you can do your ultimate more. So I really think that the Natasha light cone here is probably the best 4-star option. The thing with preservation, I feel like preservation is one of the more balanced sets where like a lot of the light cones I think are actually pretty solid. So you almost can't go wrong as long as you have something, right? So this shared feeling, another decent 4-star option. You get outgoing healing up And once again, we can look at it there, 20% up if you haven't maxed out. And then you get, whenever you use your skill, you get 4 energy regen for all allies. So this has a lot in common with the Natasha one in that you're getting outgoing healing somewhere, like a buff to that, and you're getting energy regen. And once again, the energy regen just so important on healers because you don't want to be in a situation where you really need to heal and you don't have access to it. So the faster you can charge that ultimate, the better, right? This one here is called Quid Pro Quo. This one I do believe is from the Light Cone Manifest. So I think you can buy this one from the Forgotten Hall shop if you want to. This is a 16 energy regen. So this is simply just an energy regen one. It's not quite as good as the other ones though, because you don't get like the outgoing healing buff with it, right? One that I actually think is pretty decent is this Warmth Shortens Cold Nights. I actually kind of like this one. I think this is actually Lynx on the Light Cone. I believe that is Lynx and Pela. I actually kind of like this one. It gives you a big max HP bump. I think out of all the 4-star Light Cones, I think this is the biggest max HP bump you can get. But I think this one's kind of interesting because if you use a basic attack or skill, you actually do like a small heal to the entire team. So I think this one's kind of interesting if you really want to buff the healing potency of what Lynx is doing. The only reason this one isn't like highly ranked is because it doesn't have the energy regen, and energy regen is just so important. But I think that one's solid as well. Perfect Timing I think could be okay as well. This one's got Luocha on it. This one's Effect Res, which is going to help you resist debuff. So because Lynx is already helping with debuff evasion, this would just help like increase your chances of that, right? And then it increases your healing scaled off of the Effect Res that you have. So I mean, this one is definitely solid, but I would consider that one on the lower end. But once again, look at what you have for Abundance Light Cones and kind of pick the one that you like the best. But I think, once again, I think this Natasha one is probably the best one you want to do. And once again, this one I think is just an interesting one that I think people don't talk about, but I kind of like it. But yeah, you got to go with the energy regen. So for 4-star, I'd either go with Shared Feeling or I'd go with the Post-Op Conversation. I think either of those would be the best there, right? Okay, so next, let's go ahead and we're going to look at the Relics. And for Relics, there's a few ways you could go. But with healers, you definitely want to look at HP and you want to look at outgoing healing, right? So we have this one, the Passerby of the Wandering Cloud. This one for 2-piece, you get 10% HP or outgoing healing. And then this one, if you do a 4-piece set, it just immediately regenerates 1 skill point at the start of battle. Honestly, that part of it isn't really that big of a deal. So I don't think you really have to go for the 4-piece set here because you're just getting 1 extra skill point at the start. Depending on your team comp, like that extra skill point could be really impactful, but for the most part, not too crazy. So I prefer to run this at a 2-piece set, and then that way I can grab another 2-piece set and just get more stats. And the other 2-piece set that I would recommend going with is this Longevitous Disciple one, this one here, because this one you're going to get max HP. So if you run them both as a combo, you're getting 12% max HP and then you're getting 10% outgoing healing. I feel like those are really the 2 sets you want to run. Now, as another option, you could run a 2 or a 4-piece speed set if you really need to bump the speed up. I would say your goal though with Lynx, and because of we're going to talk about her ornaments in a minute, just try to get her speed to at least 120 or higher. I think if you can get her to 120 or higher without using the speed set, I would just go those first 2 sets and get the outgoing healing and the 12% HP, which is precisely what I've been able to do on my particular build, right? So what I've got here for the, sorry, let me go back into Relics. If we go down to the ornaments, I think the one you want is Fleet of the Ageless, because this is going to be an HP set, so it's going to give you more HP there. And then the thing with this one is if you can get the wearer speed to 120 or higher, you just get an 8% attack bump for the party. So now your healer is going to be turning into like an attack support unit as well, just by giving you that extra 8%. So I think that's very good. And I'd say aiming for at least 120 or higher speed's good anyways, because you definitely don't want your healers to be too slow. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get that healing when you need it. So that's what I recommend there. Another one you could go for is the Broken Keel, which is right here. And this is going to be if you're going more the Effect Res route. So like if you want to pair this with that Luocha Light Cone and really go deep on the Effect Res, like between this, the Luocha Light Cone, and then what she's already got built in. I mean, this is really going to help you resist debuffs quite a bit. And then this is going to increase the crit damage of the party. So if you want to play more the effect res route, that one you definitely could do. But I prefer to go the more traditional HP route, right? Okay, so with that, I think we're ready to just hop into a showcase. Oh, but one thing is on Relics, I should kind of go over this again. What stats, as you're kind of building and you're looking for main stats, right? You got to look at what main stats do you want on these relic pieces. So we'll just use this as an example, even though so when you're doing, 2 sets of 2, you can pair whatever 2 you want. So this one, I'm just going to use all 4 of these as the example, but the 2 ones are the body slot and the feet slot, right? So on the feet slot, you probably want speed. Because for me personally, I needed to put speed on my feet in order to get mine up to 120. If you can get to 120 without speed here, then definitely go HP. And then on the body slot, you definitely want outgoing healing boost for sure. 100%. Like I wouldn't even look at another stat, just do outgoing healing boost there. So yeah, for those, that's what you want there. And then if we go down to the ornaments, which we're on down here, the stats that you want on these, if you go into the link rope, here you'd want either HP or energy regen rate. I think that's going to be kind of up to you. But if you're using the Natasha Light Cone or the Shared Feeling Light Cone and you're getting energy regen rate there, then I think you're probably okay going HP here. If you're going a different Light Cone that doesn't give regen, then you might actually want energy regen rate on the rope. I think either one of those could be fine. And then on the actual sphere, you definitely want HP percent there. So there we go. So with that, let's go ahead and hop into a fight. And we will just kind of show off Lynx. Healers are going to be a little bit wonkier to showcase because it's, it's more about the healing. But we'll just hop into a Forgotten Hall fight. And we'll just go into stage 1, like something pretty easy here. And I think I have my team pre-set up. Yep, so we'll just hop in. So we just have an ice team set up, and then we're just using Lynx as our healer. So once again, we will use the field skill here. So this is going to give us healing over time. So we're going to get 2 turns of that with the party. We'll use Ron Mai's ability. We'll do Jinglu's ability. And then we'll do Pela's ability as well. Perfect. And we'll just hop in like that. All right. So here's Lynx. So once again, we could just go ahead and use this. Well, let's do it. Since this is a pretty good spot, let's do a normal attack. Just because we saw her normal attack does scale off of her HP. Now, my Lynx has 6,400 HP, which is pretty good. I had my Lynx over 7,000 HP, but that was when I had HP boots on, and I didn't have the speed. And the speed is more important. So I did sacrifice some HP for that. So let's go ahead and attack that target. So you can see, Lynx just did 15k damage. Now, that was with like extra break damage and some Ron Mai stuff. But for a healer just swiping at a normal attack, that was actually pretty good there, right? Jinglu will do this. And then, yeah, we'll just kind of peel through these enemies here. I'm not going to go too crazy and use Jinglu's ultimate. I don't want to go too fast on this fight, right? We'll just go ahead and attack there with Ron Mai. Sure, we'll do the Ron Mai ultimate. All right, and then Pela will do this. And then hopefully we can take some damage. Whoops, I accidentally killed him. That's okay. So Lynx here, even though our allies are fully healed, you can still use the skill, and we can apply survival instincts, right? So let's go ahead and put that on Jinglu. Now it's going to make her more likely to be targeted, but she's getting an attack buff from this, and she's getting healing over time. So now we can go ahead and do some damage there. You see we did 100k damage, pretty good. Well, let's go ahead and attack. And then we have Lynx's ultimate up. So I'm going to try to just do some normals and let these enemies attack. So we can take some damage, maybe take some debuffs. I don't know if this fight's in particular going to debuff. Yeah, we took a burn debuff there. So we can kind of show it here with Lynx. So you can see Pela has a burn debuff. Ron Mai has wind shear on, right? And we've taken a little bit of damage. So we can go ahead and just hit the ultimate. And our debuffs are just going to go away here. Bam, debuff's gone, full heal. Very, very good, right? And then we can go ahead and we'll just do another normal attack. Jinglu, we'll hit the ultimate now. Pela, we can hit ultimate with you. And then Jinglu will go in and finish up there. But yeah, there you go. So very simple, and you're going to find that Lynx is really going to come in clutch for you with that debuff cleansing. So I think she's a very good character. Definitely go ahead and build her up. Let me know what you think of Lynx. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you all on the next one.